Hey guys, hope you're having a lovely March 15th, yes, 2019. We've been having fun here with videos lately. We've been doing some gameplay and talk about games in general. It's been fun. Unfortunately for Friday, we have something not fun to talk about. It's important to talk about though. I want the news to get out there. I'm not going to put any music to this because it doesn't feel right. It's a serious discussion. Some of you today might have seen the news about Axiom Verge coming out on the Wii U finally. Yes, the Wii U. That Wii U version has been in the works for a very long time. Turns out there was an issue between there's an issue with limited run games and Badland Publishing or Badland Games at the time. The fault, as far as my understanding is completely on Badland. It has nothing to do with limited run games. Limited run games is out tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to secure this deal because this game was supposed to come out a long time ago. There was communication issues between Badland and Limited Run, and Badland just seemed to go like MIA on the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. You can read the whole story about that aspect, why the game has taken so long, why Badland, what happened with Badland, and why Limited Run Games is putting it out now, and all the costs that they've incurred because of it. You can check all that out. We have an article on the site about it, but that's important to talk about because it leads to the next thing, which is about how this Axiom Verge deal was originally going to go down. So, the developer of Axiom Verge, Thomas Happ, worked this deal with Badland, and they were Badland Games, I think, at the time. And they were going to handle publishing of retail copies, all that stuff. But there's an important part of this story here. I want to make sure I get the facts straight. This was, when was this? Back, give me one second. It was a few months ago. Let me see if I can get the information for you. It was back on November 21st, 20. Oh my God, really? 2017. That's how long this has been going on for. That's terrible. So all the way back then, November 2017, Thomas Happ sent out or put out a blog post about this publishing deal that was going on. And at that time, he wanted to publicize something that Badland didn't publicize. And I guess we can look back now retroactively and see why they didn't want to publicize, although that's just speculation on my part. But anyway, Thomas put up this blog. I'm going to read it word for word. He says, "Before I go, I'd just like to take a moment and give a special shout out to the publisher Badland Games. As you may have seen elsewhere on my blog and Twitter, I've tried to be pretty open about my son Alistair's health situation. In short, he was born healthy, but the doctors failed to treat a routine case of jaundice during a critical period when he was just days old. The result was a lifelong condition called kernicterus, which is characterized by severe neurological damage which robbed Alistair of much of his motor control and hearing. The reason I mention this is that after we decided to move forward with Bandai Games as the publisher, they offered to donate 75% of their share to a special fund dedicated to Alistair's ongoing healthcare costs. They didn't want to publicize it since none of us wanted to be seen as trying to use my son's suffering as a marketing tool for the game." There's more to the blog post than that, but that gives you what you need to know. You can probably, if you haven't already read the story on our site today, you can probably guess where this is going. There was all the publishing deals with the game. The Wii U version never came out. Blah, 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 blah. Badland obviously got money from the deal because they were going to put the game out. They did not donate one single cent to Mr. Happ to help his child. Nothing. This is all lumped in with all the other costs that were incurred by everybody else in this project. Badland has not done as far as 75% of the donations, they've done none of that. None at all. And that's terrible. Absolutely terrible. I feel like an asshole because I posted up this story because I thought it was a great story. I wanted to spread the word. I was like, that's really cool of Badland to do that. And I didn't know about Hap's kid having all this trouble and everything. So I was like, this is a win-win all around. This is really great. Well, now here we are. The game's not out. None of the donations went to Hap. And I don't know that they ever will. There's court proceedings going on for all the other publishing issues. I don't know if the court proceedings involve the donation aspect. I would imagine that'd have to be a whole nother thing. But I don't know if Hap would want to take that to court or not. It's just a mess. It's terrible. I don't know if anybody's going to start up new efforts to raise funds for Mr. Happ's child. That would be excellent. I don't want to say, I'm just thinking about this as I'm going. Maybe I could look into doing something. I'm not sure. Nothing definite, just off the top of my head. But this whole situation is absolutely horrible. And to make things worse, Badland Games, had all these issues, or Badland Publishing. No, Badland Games, that's what they were. Had all these issues, blah, 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 blah. But Badland is still around as Badland Publishing. Games was like shuttered or something, and new people came in, whatever. But Badland still exists. Badland is still putting out games, and Badland is still making money on other titles. So they have money coming in, yes. People have gone from the company. I don't know who was there when this deal was made, blah, blah, blah. But Badland is still operating, making money, and it's not going to Limited Run. It's not going to Thomas Happ. It's a whole disaster. It's absolutely horrendous. So, I don't want to badmouth anybody that's getting their games published by Badland, but I don't know if they're aware of this situation, and they need to be. So I don't want to say, like, don't go buy any games from Badland, because, there may be people who are publishing, the cat's trying to jump up. There may be people who are trying to get their games published, or are working with them to publish them, and you'd hate for their hard work to be screwed over because of this situation. But I can't fault someone for saying I don't want to support them because they didn't, because they don't know what's going on, or because they went with Badland and they were unaware of the issues or anything like that. It's a whole mess. It's a giant mess. But that's why I'm telling you about it. The whole publishing of the Wii U thing is its own mess. But I think this Hap situation is much worse, because we're talking about a human life here that was going to get some money to help them out. So, I don't know. We'll see where it goes from here. I'll certainly bring you more updates on the situation, but that's where things stand now. So, I will see you tomorrow for the Go Nintendo podcast, where we will have a bit more fun, but we are going to talk about this in greater detail too. So, maybe we'll check you out, or maybe you'll check us out then, but I'll see you in another video regardless. So, have a great weekend. Take it easy. And I'll catch you later.